Joining us now is Israeli government spokesperson Tal Heinrich. Welcome, Tal. Tell us about this. Netanyahu last night, I thought, was extremely powerful in that press conference. Basically, I keep saying the rest of the world feels like a kind of debating society where you've got so many urges. Oh, let's have a ceasefire, humanitarian, etc., etc. Last night, we learned what Israel's true position was, and there is no chance of a ceasefire anytime soon, is there?
That is correct. If you listen carefully to the Israeli prime minister yesterday, well, he referred to this counteroffensive in Gaza against Hamas, the one that we were dragged into and didn't start and didn't want and we weren't even expecting. He defined it as Israel's second war of independence, because this is, I can tell you, really reflective of the public sentiment here in Israel. It is a matter of life and death to us. It is that serious. We have faced an existential genocidal threat, and we have decided as a nation that we will no longer accept life next to this terrorist enclave that is ruled by Hamas. This is the only reason why we are operating in Gaza right now. And Kevin, to your question, a ceasefire is not an option. Can you imagine anyone around the world calling for a ceasefire with Boko Haram after they kidnapped 300 schoolgirls in Nigeria in 2014, a ceasefire right after 9/11. In fact, you know, there was a ceasefire. There was a ceasefire on October 6th. Then Hamas broke it on October 7th. This is the only reason why the IDF is operating in Gaza right now. And anyone in the international community who is calling for a ceasefire right now is serving the pro-Hamas position, playing right into their hands, right into their strategy. This is what we're doing, because we cannot allow terrorists to get away with what they did here. These horrendous atrocities, ISIS-style atrocities. The German chancellor was here, Olaf Scholz, a few weeks ago, and he said that this is Nazi level, what he saw here.
Tal, you talk about Israeli public sentiment. You also talk about those who join calls for a ceasefire, playing into the hands of Hamas. Would that involve the UN? It seems to me that UNICEF spokespeople go around quoting Hamas statistics on fatalities as fact. Indeed, the Palestinian UNICEF spokesman appeared in something he said to imply child deaths were not merely collateral damage. And certainly Israel's relationship with the UN doesn't seem to be in fine fettle at the moment. Are you concerned about that and the reaction of the international community?
Well, you are 100% correct. We should not take any numbers or any kind of reports coming out of Gaza at face value, because there's no free speech there. There's no free press. Hamas are the people with the guns. They control anything, any kind of information that, is coming out of there. It's just like you wouldn't take numbers out of North Korea at face value, right? So that is how we should treat the numbers coming out of Gaza. However, of course, there are civilian casualties, and it is breaking our hearts as well, because this is all the doing of Hamas. Hamas are responsible for what's happening in the Gaza Strip, and they are committing a double war crime. First, when they target the civilian population in Israel, and second, as they cynically use the population in Gaza as human shields. They are embedded on purpose in civilian urban structures. They dug themselves under hospitals and schools and youth centers and mosques and whatnot. They are doing it on purpose. So, and their strategy, they are hoping that the international community, as you described, will exert pressure on Israel. When international players are doing that, it means that they are playing right into Hamas's strategy, because they will do it again and again and again. They see that using human shields as Palestinian civilians as human shields is working, because Israel gets the fire of the international community. This is why we call on the civilized world. If you want to see this war ending, it has to be a total victory for Israel with the elimination of this terror threat. And standing by Israel means standing by peace and quiet and calm in this region.